Hi, my name is Tammy, and this is my YouTube channel called Believe in Your Shelves. And I'm just brand new at booktubing, and this is my first video. It's going to be a pile of possibilities with some books that I'd like to read in January of 2024. So the first book that I would like to read is called Spoon to be Dead by Dana Mentink, and this is number 3 in her Shake Shop series. I really enjoy this series. She's a good author, and she's a humorous author also. This is the story about Trinidad Jones. She has opened up a shake shop. In the first book, her husband, she found out, was actually already married to a couple of different wives. So he ended up going to prison. But before he went to prison, he gave each of his wives a piece of property that he owned. And she got the shake shop. And the first couple of books, of course, she solves a cozy mystery. But some very side characters are the other ex-wives. And in this book, she teams up with the ex-wives, who she's become they've become friends a little bit. And she teams up with them to solve a murder in this book. And I'm very excited about this because I really like this author. The next book that I'm going to read is a reread called The Red Notebook, and this is by Antoine Laurain. And I've read this once or maybe twice, but I really enjoy this book. It is a story about a bookseller in Paris, and he comes out of his bookstore one day and he finds a purse in the trash can, and he knows some woman has been mugged, and the mugger then took the money out of the purse and then threw the purse in a garbage can. Well, he takes it home, he opens it up. There's no identification at all, but there is a red notebook in the purse, and he reads what's in the notebook, and he's very intrigued with the woman who owns this purse and this notebook, and he would like to find her, but he has no way to get a hold of her. He has no clues, and of course he's in Paris, so the whole story is him trying to find this woman. And it's a very short book. It's about 150, 160 pages, and I really enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to rereading it. The next book I want to talk about is also a reread. It's called Miss Benson's Beetle by Rachel Joyce, and it's about this woman named Marjorie Benson in the 1950s, and as a child her father told her about this golden beetle, and it's in present day now, though, in 1950, and she's a teacher, she's a spinster, she's had a really hard day, and one day at school she's had enough. She just quits and decides she's going to go on an expedition and find this golden beetle that her father told her about from childhood. So she puts an ad in the paper to find a companion. She wants to find somebody who's nice and strong and can go with her and help her find this beetle in probably some rugged country and circumstances. Well, the lady who answers the letter, her name is Enid Pretty, and she shows up in a pink tight knit pantsuit and pom-poms on her sandals, and she's not at all what Marjorie would like to have in a companion. However, they go off in search of this beetle. There's somebody also chasing them throughout the book. There's some suspenseful moments, but this is a real story about friendship. I laughed out loud so many times during this, and I also cried during this, and I just loved this book. This was my favorite book 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm looking forward to rereading this one. The next book I don't have, but I do have The Firm by John Grisham, and the sequel to this is out, and it's called The Exchange, and I would like to read The Exchange. In this book, what's his name? Mitch McDear and his wife. Mitch has kind of a situation he's gotten himself into. He is fresh out of law school. He gets hired by a law firm that is very corrupt and involved in the mafia. And the FBI contacts him and says, hey, you can either help us or you're going down with the firm, because we're gonna catch him and everything, and everybody's gonna end up in prison. So he and his wife and a friend work together And I don't want to give away any spoilers in that book, but they get out of the firm in an interesting way. Well, this next book, The Exchange, takes place 20 years later. And Mitch and his wife are living in New York City, and he's again working for another law firm. And other problems arise, and he finds himself kind of almost in the same type of situation as he did in this book. So I'm looking forward to reading this. And the next book that I would like to read is called The Raft by S.A. Bodeen, and I have read this before twice. This is about a girl, she's probably 15 years old. She lives in the Pacific Islands with her parents, and she's gone to Hawaii to visit her aunt, and some circumstances happen that she's got to fly back home to her mom and dad. Her mom and dad are not expecting her at that moment. Her aunt is not there to see her off. She gets on the wrong plane, essentially, and the plane goes down. She and the other survivor, Max, are the only ones that survive from this crash, and they have an inflatable little boat here, and they have a bag of Skittles. They have no water. There's sharks, and this follows her for probably a week or maybe 10 days. And this was excellent. I really loved it. It's a page turner. It reads really fast. Lots of breaks in the story. And this is excellent. I just really loved this book, and I'm looking forward to rereading this. And the last book on my pile of possibilities is The Faraday Girls by Monica McInerney. And I read Hello from the Gillespies by this author. And it was just a great Christmas story, and it was humorous, and I enjoyed it. So I thought I would, excuse me, I thought I would look her up and see if she's got any new books. And she has actually about a dozen other books, and so I bought a couple by this author, and I'm going to read this one. This is a story about a young girl named Maggie, and she lives with her mom and 4 or 5 different aunts and her grandfather. And her mother's gone a lot, so the aunts kind of shuffle her around and raise her. And at her 6th birthday, there is an event that just changes everything, I guess. So this book then continues 20 years later, and she's living in New York City, and her grandfather gets a hold of her and says, I would like you to help me gather up all of your aunts and get them together because I have a surprise for everyone. And so I'm sure this is going to involve a lot of, family drama, and I'm sure there'll be some humor because I know she's quite a humorous author. So I'm looking forward to that. Those are my 6 books that for sure I would like to try and get to this next coming month. And if you've read any of those, please let me know what you thought of them, or if you're interested in any of those. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.